Well, Prince Harry has revealed that his focus in the coming year will be on rebuilding his relationship with his father, King Charles. Well, the pair met for the first time in 19 months last Wednesday in a tea that lasted 54 minutes. That's very precise, isn't it? Speaking to The Guardian during an unannounced trip to Kiev last week, the Duke said that he thought the meeting had gone well. He added that he would like to spend more time in the UK and even bring his two children, Princess Lilibet and Prince Archie, with him. But in that same interview, Harry also said he has no regrets over what he said about the royal family in his Netflix series and book Spare. Remarkably, he claims he wasn't airing his dirty laundry in public. Well, joining me now is royal commentator Jenny Bond. Jenny, thank you so much for joining me. Quite a astonishing claim that Harry thinks that that book Spare, which I had unfortunately heard excerpts of, wasn't airing dirty laundry about the royal family. What do we make of that?
Well, I think he was probably asked the direct question, you know, why were you airing your dirty laundry? And he took issue with that. He would have been wiser, you are right, not to do so. I mean, this was an interview primarily about his time in Ukraine, but he was clearly asked some personal questions. And Harry can't seem to resist the temptation to talk about personal matters when he would have been better to stay quiet about it. But I'm not surprised he doesn't have any regrets or any conscience, as he put it, about not airing his dirty laundry. He says, and I find this a little bit difficult, he said that there was a difficult message to deliver and he felt and feels that he did it in the best possible way. Now, I don't think he did it in the best possible way. Family matters like this and disputes are far better resolved in private. And I hope that going forward, that is what he will do. But I think there will be a certain amount of dismay at the palace and in royal circles that he has spoken in these personal terms at all.
Yeah, well, it seems to me that, of course, he's trying desperately to get back into the royal circle somehow. You know, he's made some, well, I would say very unroyal-like comments about his father's health in the past. He's now, of course, met with Charles for the first time in 19 months. It's a very long time, particularly when, you know, his two young children haven't even been to the United Kingdom. But, of course, we can't talk about that meeting without talking about the reaction or the alleged reaction by Prince William, who is, of course, still supposedly not giving any leeway to his relationship with Harry. He doesn't want Harry anywhere near Britain, supposedly. Jenny, it seems to me there's no chance of reconciliation. Do you think it's ever possible?
I would say never say never. Families are complicated, and this dispute goes back a long way now. And I think that William has more or less put Harry out of his mind and out of his heart for the last few years. He's had a lot to contend with, as we know, William. And I think he just hasn't had room to think about this issue. Now, it's become more complicated because Harry has come back to the Britain. He played an absolute blinder last week. He was brilliant, an absolute natural with the crowds. The crowds weren't huge, but they were certainly very enthusiastic. He is a popular character in certain circles, and he used to be the most popular royalist. I don't think he wants a full-time job back in the UK. I don't think he wants to live back in the UK, but he would like the halfway house, which he tried to achieve, he and Meghan tried to achieve 5 years ago. And that is going to complicate things for William if Harry's back here more frequently and has a relationship again with their father, or as Harry called him. And I thought this was rather nice. Harry called him my dad. He said, I have to put my focus now for the next year or so on my dad. It's unusual, really. He normally says father or papa. And I think that would signal that, you know, he really does love his dad and he wants to see more of him.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, talking about the kids there, his two children, Lilibet and Archie, they've never been to this country despite being prince and princess. Do we expect the next move to be to bring them over here, perhaps with Meghan? Do you think he'd bring Meghan here?
No, they have been to this country. Both of them have been this country. It's a couple of years ago now.
Oh, obviously. Right. Beg your pardon.
No. And they have met their grandfather, the king. I don't think the noise about him wanting to educate his children in this country has any veracity at all. I don't think Meghan is going to rush back to be here at all. If push comes to shove, she probably will. But her life is in California. And he made very clear in that same interview that he is very happy in his life, very happy with his family, very happy in California. He just wants to be able to come back and reconcile with his father and with his brother, if that's possible. And it might be one day, you know, it really might be, but it's a long way off.
Oh, well, you know what, Jenny? I hope so. I really do. I never like to see a family split apart. It's a tragedy, isn't it? Well, thank you so much for joining me. Jenny Bond, royal commentator as ever. Thank you so much, Jenny.
Family, welcome back to Royal Sussex Squad, where we tell the truth about Harry and Meghan, expose the hypocrisy of the British media and stand firmly with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex against the lies, spin and endless smear campaigns. Today we are going to unpack the story that the British media twisted yet again. Prince Harry's private visit to the Duke of Kent after the passing of Catherine, Duchess of Kent, and the manufactured outrage around him not attending her funeral. Now, let's start with the facts. The Duchess of Kent passed away on September 4th at the age of 92, a woman who had lived a long, dignified life, having stepped back from public duties many years ago, but who still remained deeply loved by her family. Her funeral was held on September 16th at Westminster Cathedral, with members of the royal family present. But in the middle of all this, the tabloids tried their usual trick. They wanted to make Harry look like the black sheep again, as though he had somehow disrespected the Duchess by not being at her funeral. But here's the truth. Prince Harry actually made a private visit to Kensington Palace during his trip to the UK. He went directly to the Duke of Kent, Prince Edward, to offer his condolences in person. That, family, is the measure of the man. He didn't need a media circus, he didn't need cameras flashing, he didn't need the Daily Mail or the Sun turning his grief into a performance. He did it quietly, privately, respectfully, exactly the way real compassion works. But of course the haters in the press didn't tell you that. Instead, they were salivating, desperate to write headlines that would suggest Harry snubbed the funeral or distanced himself yet again. That's what they do. They twist private choices into public scandals. But let's be clear. Harry sent condolences, he paid a private visit, and he showed genuine respect. End of story. Now let's zoom out. Harry's visit to the UK wasn't a vacation. He was there on a tight, meaningful schedule. He attended the WellChild Awards, which he has supported for years, giving hope and encouragement to seriously ill children and their families. Then he took part in the Diana Award event, honouring his mother's legacy and empowering young people across the globe. That alone is work worthy of recognition. But Harry didn't stop there. On September 12th, he flew directly to Ukraine. Why? Because his heart, his duty and his passion were with the Invictus Games community. He wanted to see the progress of the Invictus Games Foundation and the extraordinary work at Superhumans, a world-class centre supporting veterans and those wounded by war. That's Harry, a man of action, a man of service, a man who keeps his commitments. And yet the very same people who claim to support veterans, who claim to respect service, who claim to be patriots, are the ones attacking him for not putting on a show at a funeral he had already privately honoured. Let's not forget, Harry even reconnected with his father, King Charles, during this trip. That was huge. For the first time in nearly 2 years, father and son sat down together, and from what insiders have said, it was a step in the right direction, a gesture of healing. But does the press focus on that? No. Because peace doesn't sell, lies and division do. Family, this is what the British media does every single time. They take Harry and Meghan's genuine, private, respectful choices and twist them into some grotesque narrative that fits their obsession with keeping the Sussexes under attack. And we have to keep calling it out. Now let's talk about this bigger hypocrisy. Think about how many royals have skipped funerals over the years. Think about how often excuses were made when it was anyone else. But when it comes to Harry, suddenly it's an international scandal. The Duchess of Kent herself stepped back from public duties years ago. She wasn't part of the front line of working royals anymore. Harry's absence at the funeral was not unusual, not disrespectful, and not shocking. In fact, he went above and beyond by visiting the Duke of Kent privately. But here's the real story the press won't tell you. Harry's trip was a success. Sources close to him made it clear. He loved catching up with family, friends and colleagues. He poured his energy into his patronages. He felt inspired by the causes he champions. And even though he regretted not being able to stay longer, his schedule had been set long before. Ukraine was waiting. Veterans were waiting. His purpose was waiting. That's why Harry shines. That's why Meghan shines. Because they don't live their lives for tabloid approval. They live for something bigger: service, humanity, truth. And no tabloid can dim that light. Family, think about the contrast here. While Harry is travelling the world, uplifting communities, serving veterans, supporting children, honouring his mother and reconnecting with his father, what are his critics doing? Sitting in studios, writing columns, tweeting negativity and obsessing over the Sussexes. That's their job now, to hate. But Harry and Meghan, their job is to love, to serve and to uplift, and they're winning at it every single day. And let's not forget Meghan in this. Even while Harry was in the UK and Ukraine, Meghan was holding down the fort in Montecito, raising their children, building her projects and preparing the next phase of their public and philanthropic work. This couple is unbothered, unbroken and unstoppable. So let's be clear. Harry did not snub a funeral. He honoured a family member's passing in the way he felt was most respectful, privately. He did not avoid his family. He reconnected with his father. He did not waste his time. He spent it on service and legacy. And he did not leave the UK in shame. He left renewed, buzzing and ready to continue his mission. That's the truth. Family, we have to keep exposing these lies. We have to keep reminding people that the smear campaigns against Harry and Meghan are nothing but fear of their success, fear of their independence, and fear of their global influence. They don't need a palace. They don't need a title. They don't need tabloid approval. They already have what matters: integrity, love and impact. Prince Harry visited Duke of Kent just days before missing Duchess's funeral. The Duchess of Kent died on September 4th at the age of 92. Prince Harry made a private visit to Kensington Palace during his recent UK trip to personally pay his respects and offer condolences to Prince Edward, the Duke of Kent, after the death of Catherine, Duchess of Kent, sources have claimed. Although Harry did not attend the Duchess of Kent's funeral, which took place on September 16th at Westminster Cathedral, he was in London earlier that week for several engagements. The funeral followed her death, announced on September 5th at the age of 92. During his time in the UK, Harry spent 4 days in London. He attended the WellChild Awards and also took part in the Diana Award event. On September 12th, he flew to Ukraine before returning home to Montecito, Santa Barbara. A source close to Harry told Hello that although he regretted not being able to stay longer and see more people, the schedule had been fixed for a while, particularly the meetings in Ukraine, which were important to him. He wanted to see in person the growing work of the Invictus Games Foundation and progress at Superhumans. He has loved catching up with family, friends and colleagues, the source said. His only regret was not being able to stay longer and see more people, but the meetings in Ukraine had been in the diary for a long time, and it mattered to him to be there in person to see the Invictus Games Foundation's growing work and the progress at Superhumans. The whole trip felt like a real success for everyone involved. His passion for his patronages and the causes he cares about hasn't dimmed one bit. He's already buzzing to get back and do more. Harry also used the visit to reconnect with his father, King Charles, for the first time in nearly 2 years. Even though he was in the UK during the time frame of the Duchess's funeral, he was not expected to attend. However, he did send private condolences to her family. Catherine, Duchess of Kent, had stepped back from royal duties years ago, but remained linked by family ties. She lived at Wren House in Kensington Palace and was last publicly seen during her husband's 89th birthday celebrations. And as always, if you support Harry and Meghan, if you support truth over lies, if you support dignity over smear campaigns, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on your notifications so you never miss when we drop the facts, not the fiction. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so through Super Thanks. It really helps us keep shining the light of truth on all the lies spread about the Sussexes. This is Royal Sussex Squad. We ride for Harry, we ride for Meghan, and we ride for the truth. Until next time, family, stay strong, stay loyal, and stay unbothered.